Well, welcome to my world. Come on in. We are now in the garden, and it is just so exciting to be here tonight. I'm sorry it's late, but I hope that you will spend some time. My name is Colleen Liz Frost, and it is Thursday's Heart and Soul. Thank goodness for Thursday. One day a week, we need to have a Heart and Soul Day. Today, my heart and soul was spent building a special studio for my forever memory of how I will go forward now that this year is almost up. This year, I lost my mother. It will be 1 year now on June 7th. Her birthday will be June 8th. And I have a surprise for you tonight. I'm going to tell you about a studio I'm building downstairs in my garage. Oh, it's not my garage, it's my dad's garage. I'm a caregiver, and my dad is 93. And he and I have journeyed with my son, who lives in Minneapolis. We have taken this whole year to learn how to live on purpose in memory of my mother. I am your coach, Colleen. I was raised on the 7 days of balance and living life on purpose. If you are traveling on this internet, I hope you rest here a while and make the 7 days be your traveler's rest. Today, I am your coach, your head coach, and I am on a mission while I am in remission, celebrating history and creating more. This is going to be something good, I promise. You know, I got to thinking about what am I the most proud of this year? The fact that I chose to continue being in counseling with my Ellen. It's been over 15 years now, and I picked her on purpose. She knows me better than sometimes that I know myself. Some days, but mostly she has given me a communication and boundary toolbox that matches who I am. I am comfortable using these tools because they respect the crown that my mother helped me shine the day I was born. I am authentic and brave because I am back to who I always was. And I am also prepared to handle what's next, those next losses, those next up and downs. Because life is a circus and it's a jungle out there. I want to clean up some activities for the rest of the week real quick. Tomorrow is our shoe event. We are bowling because I am going to get good at this, and I am learning how to become more social as I have lost my person, but I also have my son is now 21. So as a single mother, happily single for 21 years, I have had to learn how to now navigate without the two people I hid behind most of my adult parenting life. So come with me bowling if you have the time. It's only for 1 hour because I am a caregiver and cannot be out long. So tomorrow night at the Perm Cactus, and if you are out there in the internet, I hope you pick bowling for your family event. It's part of my history, and I am going to continue bowling because I soon plan to someday be prepared for my grandchildren. I wanted to create a special place, a studio that I could go to in case I needed to talk with my person, my mother. I like to be home. It was how I was raised. Mother and dad always said our first church was our home. And then mother would add that her favorite place was the quiet in the pew before the church service. She loved sitting still. Women of her day rarely sat still. Our family worked, and then we were home. We only had, I will say too that, there wasn't a lot of volunteering back in those days. If your neighbors needed help, my parents cooked for them and brought food to them. But, I didn't grow up with a lot of the volunteer spirit. It was caretaking or caregiving. And then it was to take care of our homes and to be prepared for what's next with our own caregiving. So I really appreciate those of you who are raised in the ability to be out and be volunteers. But that's something that's just not, I guess, who I am. And I'm okay with that. We never even went on vacations other than maybe once or twice, maybe 3 times in my childhood. We went to a town called Brainerd, Minnesota, and it was about 60 miles from our hometown. We were able to get back in time for business with my parents' supper clubs, but it was an all-day thing. And if you understood the history, well, I hope if you come to Minnesota and understand our rich history here, we are the land of 10,000 artists. There's also a rumor that we have 10,000 lakes. And but in Brainerd, I guess there are a few of these lakes, but the most important thing that I remember is it had Paul Bunyan. And my twin brother and I bought an opera house in Staples. And we were not there, but only maybe 2 weeks. And up pulls this truck. And it had this giant, like plexi type of cow. I mean, giant. I want to say 20 feet tall. And out came this older gentleman. And I didn't recognize him, of course. But when I heard his beaming voice and he walked in, he said, I heard about you. What's going on here? And you're not going to believe who it was. But it was Paul Bunyan, the man who invented Paul Bunyan. Anyway, to say that I almost passed out is an understatement, because this man was like my guru, the head of my marketing in my mind, why I think I love marketing. But anyway, I spent the whole day with him, and he is just one of my heroes, and I can't wait. That's another video. Anyway, I almost passed out. However, there was another vacation. It was out of the country up to Canada. And my only real memory of it, because it was just, again, I think a 2-day trip to say that we went out of the country. It was to Winnipeg. And all I remember is riding in the elevator with Cheap Trick. And so one of my videos coming up is going to be, I want you to want me. I mean, who does not? Isn't that just exactly what a person needs to say to a person? You know, I love that song. I mean, I love it. And it's going to be part of my marketing campaign, because I want you to want me. Anyway, we rode that elevator. Chris and I were on guard looking for them the next day, in the middle of the night. Yes, we were riding the elevator multiple times with Cheap Trick. We were 14. But again, Cheap Trick is dancing in my head. It was one of those moments, well, that you just, I won't sing the song, but I did write the whole thing out because I can just rock out on this song. You have to hear these words over and over to really understand. It's that kind of day, heart and soul, isn't it? The heart and soul kind of day that I cling to the memory of all these years and hours I have spent talking endlessly with my person, my mother, all about these important things. Things about rare people, rare places, and voices that would dance in our hearts and heads. And like a waltz, she would lead with me with her words, and then I would take the lead, and back and forth we would spend our lives reflecting back, but not too long. We would spend our time talking about the day, but not too long. And then planning and searching for the feather of hope for all the tomorrows, but not too long. Which leads me to Lakes Country Landscaping. It is owned by our Shelley and Chris Menzing here in Perm, Minnesota, but these are very special to our family. These people, Shelley has worked for my mother and me and my family, and Carmen and my family for most of my life. We grew up, we're the same, very similar in age. I think let's just go with 10 years younger. But anyway, her and her husband are just wonderful people, and they knew my mother intimately, and they know me intimately. And their son Jack as I see him grow, I think what a gift, because I remember when they were married, when their child was born, and I love as time marches on. So what did I do? One of the last steps that I took with Mother as I layered layers of love around Perm was I took her and Dad to Shelley and Chris Menzing's. And it was one of my favorite days. Shelley and Chris, every year that they've been open, they always buy a featured piece. It's usually a real big, tall trellis of some kind. Well, I ventured out there this week to see what their featured piece was. And there it was, the featured piece for my studio. And Dad and I talked about it, and we decided to get it for my studio. And it's being delivered tomorrow morning. I wanted to buy it from her and Chris because of that memory of Mother and I walking amongst her things and their plants and their trees, most of them of which they planted, watered, and took care of for Mother and Dad, but also because Shelley reminds me of being home, because she helped us with our home for years and took care of our home and knew our particular habits. And we also knew of the love of her mother and her parents and family. So we have a very similar heart. So I can't wait till you see the studio. I worked for 2 days, for a week, putting together. But I am facing, I thought, my biggest fear with this 1-year anniversary. I told Mother when she was leaving me, I said, I fear that I will not hear your voice dancing in my head. I told her the world is so noisy, Mom, and I hope that you don't fade away. I was afraid that I won't be able to find a new word or capture the word's lesson from long ago. We sat there for 4 years when she was given that 1-year notice to live, and we wrote as many things as we could, essays and words and lessons learned about the 7 days of balance. And I asked her, I said, I'm afraid that I can't find the word, Mom. What if I can't find the lesson that goes with the word? And she just laughed, and she would raise up her leg like this and hand me her coffee cup. And she'd say, honey girl, now that'll never happen. Get up and grab your dear old mother another cup of coffee, and I will tell you how to make sure you will have me with you all the rest of your days. And that's just how she talked. I sprinted to the fresh coffee and nestled in with my 12-year-old laptop, and I took detailed notes. She said, first and foremost, find yourself a ponder chair. It can be here with Dad. Well, just pick mine. It goes up and down with this button. You will love it. And it can go all the way back, so your legs won't hurt from sitting. I will be right here by your coffee cup and next to your notes to file. And then when you go to church, go early and sit in the pew and listen to the quiet. I will be there. Then she said, and then when you go outside, walk with those trees and look for that feather. And then when you find a bench, rest in the gardens, honey girl of life, and see all the beauty that God has given us. I will be there in those gardens, walking with you among the trees and the birds. And then when you sit on that bench, I will be with you, and I can talk to your heart, and you can talk to your heart's desire. I will always hear your voice, she promised. And if you sit real still, you will hear my voice. Tonight, I am so grateful because I know after spending this year in reverence of finding my balance on purpose and sorting out my 7 days, finding friends, both old and new friends, I will be able to fill my air. And then there's Dad. He's my person now. And he has felt new and refreshed, having this whistle in his step with me working so hard to mourn and really making it my own, but also teaching him that it's okay to cry over a 5 by 8 foot blanket of them dancing. It felt good. And he loves our new spot in the garden. I brought all of David Rickert's artwork, and I'm going to plaster the walls in the garage. Wait till you see it. And Dave Rickert is my person. My Adam comes home tomorrow, and I have less than 12 hours before I will see him. You know, he walks with my mother, and he's finding his way forward. And he talks of her because he seems to just know I need to hear that he's heard her. And he wants to repeat and teach and preach it. Life, Soren Kierkegaard says, can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. You know, he was a Danish philosopher, theologian, poet, social critic, and religious author who is widely considered to be the first that E word. And my mother said, you know, honey girl, he was Danish, therefore, you know, he's our person, because that's our culture. And that word, Adam loves that word because he's studied it. And I love Soren Kierkegaard, which is why his apartment's real close to the college that has that library. It's a real famous one. But you know what Soren Kierkegaard believed when I studied him in college, when I took 4 years up on the hill of my favorite class? It was Hebrew, taught by my Anaknu teacher. He believed that Christianity was not a doctrine to be taught, but rather a life to be lived. You know, my parents' faith was how they walked through their life, from their work to their home. And when they passed through the garden, they always sat still and noticed the birds and listened to the rare voices that helped them protect their family, faith, and friends. Mother told me I was rare. She taught me the 7 days in living life on purpose. She was my ground zero and the one who will be dancing in my head. And I know I have all I have to do to have her rare voice with me is to sit still and listen at home, at work, or on my way through those trees to the garden, celebrating history and creating more, looking back, but living forward. This is what I am going to do. And I'm thankful for the Chris and Shelley Menzing family, because it's going to be a treasure I will treasure forever. And they will definitely be diamonds in my Club 33. But also I am thankful for, I'm thankful for bowling, because I want to be able to keep moving forward and finding social things I'm comfortable doing. I'm thankful for my Ellen, who's teaching me how to communicate as my son grows from age to age, and also communicate through the world of remission, you know. So I'm just thankful for a lot of things on Heart and Soul Day, but most importantly, I'm thankful for you. Thank you for subscribing to my work, for liking, sharing it. And there's so much more to come. There was such a big development this morning with my unveiling of my work. And it is, I'm getting closer. And I'm in development. And I am proud to be with you at this stage of the game. I am living 7 days on purpose right here with you as your coach, and it has been a blessing on my Heart and Soul Day in Studio M on Thursday. So find your rocks, grab your ball, and build a team. Look for a feather. Hope is all around. So jump, bounce, and fly with me 7 days on purpose I teach it, I preach it, and I repeat it with the balance. Like, share, and remember that Thursdays are for those who dare. Be avant-garde, be rare, and remember me, sincerely, Coach Colleen, Coco, number 33.